Welcome, dear friends, to Cardiac Radio at 11 p.m., nourishing our souls with the laws of love, which are the laws of God. This is the title of the book, Laws of Love, a book that was written in Portuguese by the spirit author Emmanuel through two mediums, Chico, Xavier, and Waldo Vieira, in 1962, and it was published in 1963. This book is a wonderful summary, says Emmanuel in the preface, on the Spiritist view on sufferings. It's important because we live on earth. As you and I know, we don't go to the school of emotion in life, right? We don't learn many of these things, but in Spiritism there is a school within it to teach us the science of relationships. And how are we going to administer our health without healthy relationships? So this is the topic of today. 8 chapters in the book. We've already covered chapter 1, spiritual causes of illnesses, and we already entered chapter 7. We skipped a few, but we'll be back. And in the skipping of a few, we're talking about the treatment of illnesses. But we have realized with Emmanuel that our illnesses are not only in the body, not only in the mind, they're in our relationships as well. That's the topic today. In a few questions in chapter 7, Emmanuel is asked about relationships of animosity at home, which is so common. It's not only you, me, anybody, it's everyone. Somebody asked him, how can we classify the home where there are enemies, adversaries of previous lives, sharing the same interests and the same blood ties? And the answer, from the mental point of view, the adversaries of the past are reincarnated in the present, and they expend amongst themselves such vibratory load of cruelty and rebelliousness that they change the family nest in an oven mined by destructive rays of sourness and aversion. So this is the thermometer. When we know that there are parents and children, people say, oh, teenagers. No, it's not about teenagers. In a home where parents really have strong bonds of love, bickering doesn't exist. It exists where we find minds that are antagonic, and we blame it on adolescence. But you know why? In adolescence, all these files from previous lives come up. We're easily going to identify parents. They love their children, but they do not love the previous lives part of their children. What do I mean? Think of yourself as a computer, hardware, the mind, and each life a software. Now, in each life, each day is a file. Sometimes these lives, the files open exactly in teenage years. And now it's creating a lot of commotion. I may look at my child and love the child, but I don't love the immortal spirit because there is a part a software, let's say it this way, in the personality of previous lives that I don't like, that we don't get along, that we still haven't forgiven each other. The same happens among spouses, relatives. If I go to the Gospel according to Spiritism, chapter 14, item 9, St. Augustine gives us a whole thesis about the ingratitude of children and explains to us what happened in a previous life. The problem is there is a big taboo nowadays, huge, where people have a real hard time recognizing, realizing, surrendering to the facts. So you say, no, I love my child. It's good that you make an effort, but denying it, it's not going to happen. But Vanessa, what do I do? Okay, this is Emmanuel's answer, not mine. So he's going to tell us. Right? First, we need to understand why it's so hard. Vibratorily, the load of cruelty and rebelliousness is immense. Destructive rays of sourness and aversion. So the next question is, what is the role of Spiritism in family conflicts? And the answer is just one line. Before family conflicts, Spiritist principles come as providential medication. Emmanuel, please say more. What does it mean? We need to understand what the principles are. Remember the title of this book, Laws of Love. We learned that the laws of justice is the law of love. And in the next question, he expands the answer. When we get to know, somebody asked, what is the fundamental point of help, Spiritist help, in this problems of domestic origin, meaning at home? So how can Spiritism help? So he says, clearly, in the individual education, make understanding about reincarnation, it emphasizes the imperative of mutual tolerance. Mutual tolerance as the immediate spiritual therapeutics. So, the difficult, the knots, the difficult parts between the individual or the group will be solved, healed. Tolerance. Oh no, I wanted a miracle. Well, miracles are simply the extension of the laws of God to levels that we don't understand. But now we're coming to understand. There's no secret. I remember my grandmother very wisely, always saying, talking about tolerance and indulgence, and saying, sometimes I see in our society nowadays, and you may feel the same, that nowadays people are magnifying issues. We need to do the opposite, magnify the good and minimize, really like we do in a computer, minimize the screen, minimize the problems. Oh, did you see that beautiful tree? And we don't pay attention. Look at the image on the background. That's what we want to talk about. Don't focus on the shadows. Focus on the green. The shadows don't exist. They are simply projections of the lack of light at those points. When we magnify evil, we are just talking about the non-existent. It's a waste of time. We need to focus on the good, seek the good, seek the good, seek the good, seek the good. Feel the good, feel the good, feel the good. Visualize the good, and mold the good with all the resources we have at hand. Empowering people to do their share, because everyone is a child of God. Sometimes we stay at home. In the name of parenting, we abuse our authority. But you know why we abuse authority? Because we're cruel. Like Emmanuel is saying. We say, no, I'm not cruel. We are. Because we shout and we scream and we punish. Oh, but you don't know what my children do. How about if we do what St. Augustine says in the Gospel according to Spiritism? Chapter 14, item 9. One of the two parts between parent and children need to step in love. Who do you think it's going to be? Of course, the parents. If you're the parent, we are the ones that are supposed to forgive and love. That's our commitment before God. But Vanessa, it's too hard. Okay, here's a very good technique. During sleep time, let's do the intelligent sleep. The intelligent sleep helps us. There are clinics in the spiritual realm, true therapists. The protecting spirits can come, take us, because the body sleeps, but we spirits continue to be active. We go to the clinics and are treated, sometimes in a family group. Let's ask for it and reconcile. We need to learn to love those who are in our family members. Sometimes I see plots that are created within families, siblings, sometimes the parents and a child versus the other child. That's where bullying begins. That's where cruelty begins. I've never seen a serial killer saying, my mother was so loving, my father was so kind and loving, we were so faithful to God. I've never heard that. I've heard the opposite. I've heard of people who came from families that were troubled, non-religious, and children who became a role model in society. That doesn't mean these are exceptions. The rule is our environment will play a role in our health. Our health will not be sustained. Remember when we study pathologies of the soul? Grudges, resentment, despair, frictions, and irritation. Where does it happen? In our relationships. At home. When we're talking about the treatment of illnesses, we need to know that our health begins with the health of our relationships with God, with ourselves and one another, as we talked yesterday. So today, Emmanuel is clarifying to us, he's validating us. When you think it's difficult to have adversaries, enemies at home, he's saying, yes, it is. Because the vibratory load of cruelty and rebelliousness is immense, creating destructive rays of sourness and aversion. But we spiritists have a solution: mutual tolerance. Knowing that we're not here by chance, let's think together. If God allowed us to be here, there's a good purpose. We can do it. So that's going to be the affirmation for the next 24 hours. Without these exercises, this knowledge is fruitless. Why? Because we just know, but we need to practice. Let us practice by feeling, I can tolerate. And tolerance here is not this, oh, I'm going to put up with you. It's this deep understanding. Understanding that we're here together to love one another. And we need to heal the child within ourselves. Because often we feel like victims. Oh, that person did this to me. My child is so ungrateful. And we are what? Saints, angels. But Vanessa, I do my best. Yeah, and when you talk to your child, they are saying they are doing their best. When we talk to the spouse. So one of the sides need to surrender to love and make a decision. I decide to love. So the affirmation is, I can tolerate because there is a foundation of love amongst us. I can tolerate because there is a foundation of love amongst us. And which foundation of love is this? God. Under the laws of God, the laws of love, laws of justice, we are reunited. God thinks that this is the best time to cultivate love in this relationship. You and I are being invited tonight to love, to open our hearts. Believe. Do you believe in the good or not? As André Louis said in a previous book, The Spirit of Truth, do you believe in the supremacy of evil? No, we don't. Because the only supreme thing is love, God, and God's creation, the good. So let us sing the song of believing in the good, counting in prayers, holding the hands of our protecting spirits and say, I'm able to love more today. Decide to love. Compromise. Compromise emotionally in the sense of, I am not taking this battle personally. Because at the end of the day, the grudges we hold, the resentments we hold against one another are more about us than about whomever injured us, whomever offended us. Because when we are truly evolved, we do not get offended. Look at Jesus Christ, our model, right? What a lesson. How loving the laws of love is, right? So friends, this is it for today. We wish you lots of blessings and greater harmony in your heart, in your connections, in your relationships, thus making a healthier network wherever we are. Thank you, friends.